All right, boys. All right. Well, welcome to the first ever On the Levee Sports podcast, the show where a bunch of high school friends get together and talk about the teams that we love to hate. I just want to
Mhm.
jump right into it. Blake, I've been waiting forever to talk with you about this. Tell me what you think about Eric Bledsoe.
So as a fit for the Pelicans or just like in general as a basketball player?
Well, I'm thinking, you remember how excited we were when we first acquired Eric Bledsoe and we thought we were going to have one of the most dangerous front courts in the
Yes.
in the West.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
Well, like defensively at least, we thought we were going to be pretty stout up there. And
Oh
I
yeah.
mean, you look at Eric Bledsoe's history, and he's always been I won't call him a playmaker, but he's always been pretty consistent, pretty good. And then he just comes to us and just has statistically his worst year in the
mm,
last like fucking 6 or 7 years, something crazy like that.
Dude, I think you just don't care, to be honest with you. What's up, is Pelican Puncher, by the way?
at the end of the day, because I think even he beat out Drew Holiday for a few NBA first team all defense selections. So I expected more from him on that front. It seems that every decent, like he doesn't even have to be an all-star. Any decent guard we play, they drop like 40 points. It could be anybody. And he is just not. I think it's like Pelican Puncher said. He just doesn't care. He doesn't want to be here. I think that's been clear since he first got here. In his initial interviews, he sounded very, very disappointed that he got traded. And honestly, yeah, he looks like he might just be done in general. But I don't know. He might go somewhere next year and just tear it up again. Which that's probably what's going to happen.
I
I mean,
think,
it's usually what happens with us.
yeah, dude. I think this is like kind of a one-stop shop for him. He's going to try to wait out his contract. He's going to go try to win a championship somewhere and sign for a very small deal. I mean, it's just the stuff that happens to the Pelicans all the time. He's what I like to call a big market guy. All right, he's not a small market guy. He doesn't really care about the franchise. He just wants kind of the life that goes with being an NBA star. So
Hmm. And that brings up another point, Luke. You were saying we thought we'd have a pretty good backcourt, which is true. But honestly, I think Lonzo Ball and Eric Bledsoe are the worst backcourt in NBA history. I don't think there's ever been a worse starting backcourt, considering the hype they had going into the season.
Yeah, considering especially offensively, man, there was just no real consistent production, especially from like Lonzo, man. He'd go off and he'd have like 28 points in one game or something, and then the next 5 games it'd be like 3 to 7 points. It'd be something
Mm.
stupid like that. We just need. We've always had some trouble finding consistency. Even when Drew Holiday was here, man, he played well
Yeah,
for us, but it was never just consistently well. There was always those fucking periods where he'd come out and it would just be like, what the fuck are you doing out there, man?
yep. He'd be fire for a month, and then he'd be decent for 2 months, and then yeah, it's the same trend. I don't know. It's that's why there's something going on in that Pelicans organization that we just don't know the ins and outs of it. But there's got to be something going. I mean, because it just with the talent we have, I would like you look at the roster on paper, you would think, all right, that team at least is like a top 7 seed, like seven at the worst. And for us to be like tied for 12th right now, I mean, that's a shame.
it really is, man. Now let me ask you all this: do you think that David Griffin is the GM to kind of fix those problems, or do you guys think that he's just not the guy? Do you think that he's making bad deals here and there, bringing in people like Eric Bledsoe, or do you think that there's more good than bad there?
I mean, if you all right, let's take a look at what he's done, right? He
We
I think I mean, the best thing he's done is draft Zion, which anyone would have. Then the AD trade, I mean, that was AD, I think, was behind the scenes telling other teams that, look, I'm not re-signing with any of you. I think he was only gonna re-sign with the Lakers, and he was letting that be known. So I think that David Griffin's hands were kind of tied on that, and he had to trade him to the Lakers. I mean, he got a good return for AD in the process.
I mean, we got Bi out of it, man. Bi's been a pretty stout player for us.
Yeah, and draft picks north and south plus Lonzo Ball.
Yeah.
We'll talk about Lonzo Ball a little later, but yeah, we got Ingram out of it. I still have faith in him. He's 24 points per game, and he's 23 years old. I mean, he can only get better. And so I don't necessarily think David Griffin's doing a bad job. This last year, his trades were pretty god awful, I will say. But like they looked good on paper. Like even us as fans, we were excited. So again, maybe that's not. He didn't know Eric Bledsoe was just going to completely shut down and not care when he got here. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The one thing I will say about those deals is that we got a lot of future assets that are at least we're going to be able to trade or do something with them. So like I think we won't be able to truly look back at this deal and know until 5-6 years from now when I think Zion is going to be in his prime with the Pelicans. Because after 6 years, if we're not a winning team, he's out. There's no way he stays. And if he stays 6 years, honestly, it'll be lucky for us.
Yeah. I think we throw a lot of money in the wrong place too, man. We got Steven Adams right now for almost $30 million. It's the same shit we did with Omer Ashik. I mean, Steven Adams is better than Ashik, obviously, but still,
Don't
like,
ever bring up Ashik. You gotta never ever bring up Amir Ashik ever. Never.
I mean,
The
at
cursed
the
Turk.
time, I think we were all excited about the Adams trade at the time,
Mhm.
but I don't think we didn't see like Jackson Hayes has taken like a huge step this season, and he looks like, in my opinion, I think Jackson Hayes' ceiling, like if he reaches his full potential, I really do think the dude's like a top 10 player in the NBA.
Yeah, Jackson Hayes is
Ooh, hot take there. I love it.
he's already developed into a player that can basically do what Steven Adams does. It's not worth paying him $30 million or however much we're paying him.
I
When we
mean,
get Jackson Hayes for so much cheaper, we have
well,
him so much
he's
cheaper.
also he's a little bit more athletic than Steven Adams too.
Yeah,
So there's
he's a bit smaller. Well, not
yeah.
height wise.
I mean,
Dude.
I'm gonna say a bold prediction here. Like I said, I think I've been watching him close like these last few months, and just the way he plays, the moves he's doing. He really, honestly, he looks like Anthony Davis did his rookie year, but he looks to be shooting threes now. I think he's made 6 of 10 threes this year. He's shooting 60%. I think if he reaches his potential, he could be like Anthony Davis. I really do.
And you're saying this about Jackson Hayes, correct?
Yes, of course. Not Steven Adams.
Dude, I 100% agree with that. I don't know about top 10, but I think maybe at his position, a top 10 guy. There's just so much talent in the NBA. It's hard to get that into that echelon of talent,
Well, you know what else I love to see from Jackson Hayes?
What's up?
78% from the free throw line, man, compared to compared to a what, 44 from Steven Adams. So I mean,
And dude, he's a young guy too. So like, I love that.
Yeah.
I think that really speaks to his work ethic and stuff like that. And you can see it panning out. And the one thing, and we're bashing on Steven Adams here, but to give him credit, the Pelicans' on-floor efficiency shoots up when he's on the court. It's not even close. We're better defensively. We're better offensively. Everyone gets better when he's on the court. So, at least statistically speaking. But I think that as an asset over time, he may not have been the best for the trade that we got.
yeah, but I mean, is like what, like 8 points and 9 rebounds worth $30 million a year?
No, but he's also like a cap hold too, because if he has that cap, you can say like, oh, we already paid somebody. You know what I mean? So, whenever his contract is up, hopefully that's a season that. I don't know when his contract is up, but him and Bledsoe, whenever those contracts run out, that's just free money for us to go get somebody who actually wants to be here. Because I think with Zion and BI, we're going to get people that want to be here. God knows who they are, but I think somebody will want to.
But that's what gets me, man. Like, I guess because Eric Bledsoe was kind of on, like, the Milwaukee Bucks. I mean, they were kind of a title contending team, and so I guess that's why he didn't want to be here, coming from the Bucks to the Pelicans. But like, he didn't like sit back and be like, wow, I'm playing with Zion. Probably he's going to be the best player in the league one day. And then Brandon Ingram, a top 20 player in the league, and he just didn't seem to care either. Like, I thought people would want to come play with Anthony Davis here, and it kind of wasn't like that. We had to trade for DeMarcus Cousins. DeMarcus Cousins wouldn't have come here if we didn't trade for him. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, why didn't LeBron come to New Orleans if he wanted to play with AD so bad? They don't want to do it here, and I don't understand. Like, the Saints don't have that problem. The Saints can pull in some good free agents.
Very
you know
good
what
take.
I'm saying? I don't.
Yeah, but the Saints have had a tradition of being a playoff team for the past. I
Yeah,
mean, as
they
soon as
made
Sean Payton got here, we
playoff.
went to the playoffs or NFC Championship team. And we've had our 7 and 9, 8 and 8 years, but most of the
Since
time
like
we're in the
2014, we've been to
playoffs.
the playoffs like all but 2 times since
Yeah.
like 2014 or
And
something
then
like that.
we had a Hall of Fame quarterback too,
Yeah,
which is
Mm-hmm.
like a
we had
big
like
a
one of
big
the
draw for a lot of
top three
people.
of all time quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the NBA,
No,
if
it's,
in the NFL, if you can get a top quarterback like that, I mean that's just a draw that it's so easy to sell. It makes it so much easier to sell
yeah,
the
and
city and the organization if you got a top tier quarterback.
especially when he's such a good guy too, man. People just like want to play for him. Yeah, but I
I
mean,
mean, but
So
like at
back,
the end of the day,
oh you Blake.
you can go ahead. You can go ahead.
Okay, well, I was actually going to move us on to our next topic because we've been recording this one for about 20 minutes. The next topic is still with the Pelicans, but really we're just talking about the young guys here. I mean, who do you think really is the future of this team when you're talking about young guys?
I
I
mean,
like the
Zion, obviously, you know what I'm
yeah.
Oh
saying.
yeah, no,
But
he
out
is
of
the
like the
core.
other ones, it's Jackson Hayes.
Yeah, I mean, I like the improvement we saw out of Alexander Walker this year too.
I agree, dude. He's a fan favorite too. I mean that guy's everybody loves him.
I
And
don't know.
I
I
like
think
Alexander Walker. I just think he will be traded. I think Griffin is going to try to make a move for another All Star, and he will be included in that trade.
he
we
would
got
Yeah,
be
to
a
get rid of Walker
fantastic
first.
asset.
He is a fantastic asset, and that's why I hope, like tonight, I hope he's doing well, and I hope the next game scores a lot of points because he's been doing well for the last 2 months. And other teams whose stars are kind of getting disgruntled, they're taking note of it.
Blake, as of halftime in the current game, he has 11 points, 3 rebounds, and 1 assist.
Speaking of this, we're actually recording this during the Golden State New Orleans Pelicans game on Friday, May 14th. The video should be out the following Monday.
It's bad. We already know it's bad. It's gonna be horrible.
Oh yeah,
It's a
dude.
slaughter.
Steph
It's a
Curry,
slaughter.
Steph
It's
Curry,
fucking
and Draymond
bad.
Green, and somebody else isn't playing, and it's like we're still gonna get our ass kicked.
See, and then that
At
like
halftime.
stuff like that happens, to where like we're playing their G League team and we're playing our up and coming young guys, and we're still getting our ass kicked. So are
Yeah.
these
Yeah.
up and coming young guys? Are they really gonna be? I do not. People are real. People really like Kyra Lewis. I don't see it with him. I don't.
You
What I
know,
really want to know.
I'm a huge Kyra Lewis guy. Actually, I think that Kyra Lewis has made tremendous improvement. I think that I don't think he's the most refined person out there for sure, but he's also I believe this is his rookie season. So like when I see his potential as a rookie and the things that he's improved on over the course of the season, like he's become a consistent shooter, and I think he's knocked some clutch threes down, even though the team hasn't been able to kind of take advantage of those opportunities and stuff like that. But I mean, he's got excellent defense, excellent energy. He's a good passer, and he's a small market guy, man. What else can you ask for? Man, he's a small market guy. We need that.
Okay. I
I will
want.
say, Kerry Lewis definitely adds to the long history of New Orleans basketball of having the all ugly team.
What I want to
Yeah,
know
First team
is
All NBA ugly.
how
he
much
does.
of the Pelicans being bad is to blame on the shit ass coaches the Pelicans have had since we got rid of Monty Williams for getting us to the playoffs.
I mean, in the NBA,
We've had terrible coaches since then.
I don't know,
Is
man.
Stan Van Gundy doing a great job right
I've
now
we've
coaching the Pelicans?
I think we've had some decent coaches. I just think that up until
Alvin
recently, there hasn't
Gentry?
been an organization that's been able to kind of put together something that they need. Remember, dude, Alvin Gentry inherited Monty Williams' offense. I mean, those are two very different offenses. Monty Williams was a pick and roll, old style pick and roll guy. Gentry is a kind of spread it and shoot kind of team. He coached for the Warriors back then. So, like, I just think that we had an incompetent GM. Now I think with David Griffin, I think he's going to be a more competent GM. Um, and the best part is, dude, he comes after the league, man. I respect that. I respect that a lot.
I just think coaching in the NBA doesn't matter. It matters, but it doesn't matter as much as you think. Because if you took
Yeah,
Steve Nash off and put Stan Van Gundy there, they'd be the same. They'd still be good.
it's true. he's gonna tell him to play defense just like the other guy does.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, basketball is just one of those sports, man, where like your coaching is important, but it really at the end of the day, it all comes down to those 5 guys on the court to really make the plays, and a lot of them, and a lot of times call the right play themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
But you gotta think of like some of these players like Steph Curry. The Pelicans had a chance to get him. So the Pelicans in another alternate fucking universe could have had Steph Curry, but did we have the coach that would be able to coach him back up from being injured
When did we
Oh,
have an
he'd have left,
opportunity to get
man.
Steph Curry? When was that?
when he was
Yeah, well,
hurt?
enlighten us, Bowlesby.
It was
I think you mean Klay Thompson, man.
Yeah, you're talking about Klay Thompson. They offered us Klay Thompson for Eric Gordon, and we didn't take it, which is horrible, considering Eric Gordon didn't want to be here. But
Yeah,
I guess
exactly.
I mean,
they'll
at the
get-
time, yeah, at the time that Eric Gordon had a lot more potential, I guess you could say, than Klay Thompson, because I don't think Klay Thompson had blown up yet.
No,
No,
I don't
he
think
didn't.
so. The Splash Brothers hadn't truly started then. They were on the team, but they weren't what they were going to be. That's for sure.
Yeah.
No, not at all. I mean, it's just we've missed a lot of opportunities, man. If Cousins doesn't get hurt, where are we at today? If we drafted Kobe Bryant, and kept Kobe Bryant, where would we be at today?
Mm-hmm.
If we ever decided to get Chris Paul some help way back when, where are we at today?
Exactly, man.
We
Yeah,
just haven't been a real competent organization, and it's hard being a fan of them. Sometimes you feel as a fan you care more than they do.
Yeah, especially during the old years. I mean, dude, the old years were tough. It felt like they didn't care about the organization at all, especially when they let go DeMarcus Cousins after his injury. I mean, look, I understand that he wanted a lot of money, but I mean, that was our chance of keeping Anthony Davis. That was it. That was the gamble to keep winning and to keep Anthony Davis happy, and we just didn't pull the trigger for some reason. Now we got lucky. We got we got Zion and everything like that. So don't want to pick them apart too bad, but it's like come on, man.
No, it's like God keeps telling us, "Look, I'm gonna give you one more chance."
Or it's the NBA fixing the draft, but
That's more likely.
The third Pelicans topic of the day. We're going to talk about Zion's injury and bad officiating and stuff like that. So Zion had an injury to, I believe, his ring finger that's going to sideline him for the rest of the season. I don't even know how real it is. To me, honestly, it sounds like one of those quote-unquote injuries because they don't want to play their star player when we've been eliminated.
Right.
But if he is injured, then please, I wish him a speedy recovery and all that good stuff. But dude, Griff coming after the NBA, you don't see that often anymore. A GM willing to speak out. This must have been an ongoing process for a long time. If he was willing to come out there after the game and say something. So I mean, dude, I can't wait to hear y'all's thoughts on it because I was blown away, dude. I love Griff. He's my GM.
I mean, I watched his interview, and he was red in the face, almost looked like he had tears in his eyes. So I do think Zion's finger actually may really be hurt because you don't just act on that kind of emotion. Something was fueling that emotion, and it's true, man. All year long, he gets foul calls, but like just because you give him a lot of foul calls doesn't mean you can just ignore other times he gets fouled. I mean, there are some plays he gets fouled by 4 or 5 guys, gets thrown on the ground, and he doesn't say a word to the refs. He gets up, runs to the other side of the court, and they just continue to not give him calls. He has no technical fouls this season, none. And he's a superstar, and he has no technical fouls, and he still doesn't get respected by the refs.
Yeah, which is really good for being a rookie, and he drives in the paint constantly, so he could, like he does, he's constantly like next in the paint trying to get rebounds or going up, and he never gets a technical, so he's obviously doing everything like literally by the rules, following the rules to a T, and then they just say, "All right, well, fuck the rules on you."
And he's still shooting 60%. After getting fouled and all this, I mean, dude, that's just crazy.
No jump shot, still shooting 60%, 27 points a game. I mean, Zion is the future of the league. He already kind of is the league.
Mm-hmm.
Like he in 2 years, maybe even next year, he's going to be the best player in the league. As soon as he gets kind of a consistent jump shot, And I agree with Griffin. If this is supposed to be the future of the NBA, you have to protect him. Why would you want him to get hurt?
Yeah. I mean, dude, he is the guy. I mean, his Zions, I bet, made, tons and tons of money when they first came out the other day. Which, by the way, everyone in this podcast, go buy a pair of Zions so we can keep them here, man. That's what I'm
For
screaming.
sure. Gotta get all the New Orleans fans on it.
Oh yeah, man. Support your guys. All right, go buy their stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you think about David Griffin getting fined $50,000 for this too?
I mean, the Pelicans organization is going to pay that off. I mean, you can't come out and like pretty much make a stand and insult the league like that and expect not to get fined. But he knew he was going to get fined going in, but he still said it, and I like it. I like him defending Zion. It's going to make Zion feel like his GM has his back, and hopefully David Griffin starts showing that in his moves he makes to help Zion and the team start winning games.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's definitely the attitude to have if you want to keep your star player around.
Yeah, Dell Demps would not have said anything.
What I also love is that Zion's got a good head on his shoulders too. I mean, when you listen to him talk and stuff like that, he's not going in there making demands and stuff from what it sounds like. I think he's just going to let David Griffin do his job, and he's just going to trust that in a few years we're going to have some type of team built around him. And at the end of that 6 years, he's going to find out what's up. But I think by in a couple of years, we're going to have a great team. I think we're going to be top 4 in the West, maybe. But it's going to take 2 to 3 more years minimum, in my mind.
I hope so, because I mean, Zion in year 2, in my opinion, is already a top 10 player, and so his patience is going to be shorter than Anthony Davis's. So, like, if next year we don't make the playoffs again, I mean, you can bet you're behind that he's going to be in David Griffin's office being like, all right, look, bro, I mean, I can give you one more year. Try to build the team around me because I want to stay, but I also want to win. And I'm already this good, and I'm kind of wasting my years. I could be winning somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
So I just think that's why I do think David Griffin is going to be extremely aggressive. I think the team is going to look drastically different next year.
I think so too. So who are your buy and sell guys? Who are people that you want to keep, and who are people that you want to see gone?
On our team.
Yeah, on our team. So first we'll go around. Everybody can say who they want to keep, and then we'll go around and say everybody who they want to get rid of.
All right, Sean. Determine the order.
Definitely.
All right, let's go. Bowlesby, Luke, Blake, me.
All right, Bowlesby.
All right. Let's
Who are you trying to keep on the Pelicans?
Bowlesby has
Bledsoe.
Eric Bledsoe, number 1. Yeah, I think he's on all of our lists, to be honest with you.
Getting rid of him. Getting rid of Lonzo Ball.
That's a surprising take.
We got to keep, obviously, Zion.
Oh, really? I wouldn't have thought of that one, Bowlesby.
Let's trade Zion.
That's a hot take right there, man. That's a hot take.
Yeah, Bowlesby.
Keep Zion Williamson.
Dude, I think you should go try to apply for a job over there, Bowlesby.
Yeah, I think I'm the Mel Kiper of the NBA now. But we need to keep. I think we'll stick with Jackson Hayes. I was gonna put shipping out what's his name, the other old guy we got on our team, Steven Adams, but keep at least one veteran on the team just to have that experience.
Yeah. So Luke, what you thinking? I agree with that.
I think my biggest one. I mean, obviously my biggest one is Eric Bledsoe, but I think we need to move Steven Adams and get rid of not cut him per se, but move him and get rid of some of that money so that we can use that to get somebody else in here next year that's gonna produce a little bit more for us and be more of like a leader for the team and help take us that next step more than he can.
Mm-hmm.
Especially with Jackson Hayes on the up and come.
I agree with that.
Yeah, I think you're right. We're all just going to kind of touch on the same stuff. I would like to see us keep Kyra Lewis and I would like to see him add a 3-point shot to his game. I think that that's really going to be his area on the team. If he can't shoot, then he's going to have trouble making any floor with Zion on it playing point forward. So, we'll have to see how it goes though.
Yeah.
So
I
now
mean, I
on
think
to
the
the
one.
actually, you want to take a break, or y'all just want to keep going through the Saints?
Well, I was gonna say real quick. I was gonna touch on the roster thing real quick.
Okay.
The biggest one, I might get a lot of flack because Twitter Nation seems to be completely in love with Lonzo Ball. Uh, I do not see it. I think Lonzo Ball is going to be out the league in 5 years. He
Ooh.
he is very, very, very overrated by NBA fans. I guess because his last name
No.
Ball, and he is very inconsistent. He is a bench. He is like on a championship team. Lonzo is probably your eighth or ninth best player. And there's talks about him getting 20 million. If we sign Lonzo to 20 million a year, that will be the end of the New Orleans Pelicans franchise. And you can take that
I do agree that he shouldn't get $20 million, but I don't think he's going to be out of the league in 5 years. I think he has a bright future in the NBA. He may not be a starter on a championship team, but dude, 6 men. I mean, I can name countless 6 men that have just gone off and changed the course of NBA history. So I think he's going to fit kind of that role once we get to that point. Hopefully, we'll have a couple more stars around him, around Zion and stuff like that. So he'll get less minutes. But 20 million, you're right, is just way, way too much for Zoe.
I would rather give Josh Hart some of that money. I want to keep Josh Hart over Lonzo, 100%.
I would like to keep Josh Hart, but I don't think he's a guy that we should break the bank for. I just,
No,
yeah.
no, I mean nowhere near 20 million, but I'm talking like if we have to sign one or the other, I would hope it would be Hart.
Yeah, I'd be okay with like a 9 or 10 million dollar contract for him,
And Josh
something around
Hart
that.
wants to be here, and I don't think Lonzo wants to be here.
And dude, I think the fans like him too. I think the fans really really like Josh
Hmm.
Hart. I mean, he's kind of grown on him. I do think that Zoe wants to stay in the city. I think that coming from LA, like I'm sure he loved living in LA and stuff like that. But having all those eyes on you and stuff like that, and all the expectations when you're trying to grow in your first couple years, I mean, it's got to be rough. I'm sure that it's a lot less pressure in New Orleans. So, plus,
Yeah.
I mean, now he's playing next to the future of the NBA. If he sticks with Zion, then his career will be etched in the history of the NBA. He'll be there forever.
Yeah.
LeBron sure didn't want Lonzo around. I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, well, all right. Well, to segue into our next talking about the Saints, man. All these topics that we got for the Saints kind of just piggyback off of each other. Let's start it off. Let's start off with our thoughts about the future of the Saints without Drew Brees. Who you think the guy is going to be? Is it going to be Taysom? It's going to be Jameis. We're going to try to bring somebody from the outside in. What do y'all think we're gonna try to do?
I think for the
Uh,
first year, it's gonna be Jameis, and they're gonna run Taysom Hill like they've been doing with Drew Brees.
mm,
So Jameis is gonna be the starting quarterback, but we're still gonna have those packages where we run the designated run with Taysom Hill, where once every 50 plays he throws the ball 10 yards down the field, so they have to prepare for a possible throw, even though it will probably never come again.
I mean, yeah, it's obviously. I mean, I thought we were going to try to move up in the draft for one of the young quarterbacks, but it looks like they're really just going to test the waters with Jameis and Taysom. I don't think that experiment will last longer than a year.
Dude, honestly, I,
Uh,
I think we're
I
kind.
think Jameis has high ceiling.
I mean, look, I think that Jameis has potential. I mean, he threw a lot of touchdowns. We threw just as many interceptions.
he has potential, but like, I mean, what's he going
I,
into year seven
I,
of his career?
yeah, but I think in Sean Payton's offense, like look what happened when Drew Brees got into Sean Payton's offense. I think it'll suit his play style better because with Sean Payton's play style, there's you take a lot of these short passes, 10, 15 yards, and you get the defense really bunched in, maybe throw a couple crossers, and then they run it up the middle a bit. to condense down the defense, and then once every like 10 plays or so, he'll try to throw a deep pass that's 30, 40 yards down the field.
I mean, you can say that, but Bruce Arians' offense is also just as good as Sean Payton's, and
For
that's when
sure.
he threw the 30 interceptions.
Yeah.
For sure.
I
For
mean,
sure.
my thing is, man,
He
we
got
just need
LASIK
to.
now.
Yeah. Well, we just
Yeah,
need to.
okay, like that matters.
Yeah, we just need to make a decision and stick with it, man. I think we need to get rid of this whole fucking quarterback power every 10 plays because it's not doing what it was when we first got Taysom. You know, everybody once
You
they see
figured it
Taysom,
out.
yeah, once they see Taysom, they know he's running up the middle or he's throwing a bomb. It's one of the two, and that's just easy to stop when you know what's gonna happen.
Yeah, I think it
You know,
also got worse, especially after last season where he played at those 8 or 9 games, and he was our offense. Everything that we've had in the playbook for him has been exposed. I mean, there might be a few kinks here and there that Sean Payton still has up his sleeve with that guy, but I think the reason why he didn't play Jameis Winston is because he didn't want to show his potential offense before Jameis was ready. So I think he was trying to, keep him in the weights, let him grow up a little bit, let him do everything he needs to do, on the field and stuff like that, and then bring him out with no film on him. Because I think that Taysom's done. He might get a couple runs off here and there. He's gonna be great on 3rd and 4th and 1 and stuff like that. But I just don't see him as a franchise quarterback anytime soon.
and
I
they
mean,
just need
yeah,
to.
but what they gave him that $140 million contract, where almost all of it's voidable. I mean, yeah, you're right. I mean, he's pretty much done.
Yeah.
We might keep him for 1 year, but they're not going to keep that salary. You know what they're not
Oh
going to
yeah.
keep that.
That's a placeholder right there. So then that way, when they want to clear up money, they can go and take it from him. It's a classic thing that they do in the NFL. You can see a lot of quarterbacks will take these gigantic contracts, and then every year you hear them taking a 10 or 15 million dollar pay cut because they want to go get somebody. That's how Tom Brady went and got Antonio Brown and all those guys that he was willing to take less money, shorten his contract up and stuff like that, and go win. And it's something that we've done with Drew for years. So I think that's what we're doing with Taysom too.
Yeah, and well,
Yeah,
you never know too, man. They might just switch him, make him like more of like a H-back situation or like a tight end, and just get him out there making plays that he'll be able to make. And it's not just a quarterback power, him running up the middle. Get him out there catching some passes or something like that, because he's shown that he's able to catch passes, go out there and score some touchdowns. But we just gotta make a decision
I
with the
don't think
quarterback thing, man.
the offense. I don't. It might be a problem, but I don't really think that'll be like. I think the issue next year is going to be defense. I mean, we lost like 6 starters.
Yeah, it was some heavy stuff, man. Lost a lot of guys.
Yeah, we lost Trey Hendrickson, Jack Rabbit. Who knows what's going to happen with Marshawn Lattimore? We lost Sheldon Rankins. We lost Quan Alexander and Anzalone. I mean, Anzalone wasn't that good, but he was our starter. And he was
Yeah.
going to pick that spot up.
And I think that as much as I like Quan because he was an LSU guy, I just don't think that he's going to be a long-term NFL guy. I mean, he was kind of a rotational guy last year, so he is a loss for our depth. But I don't see him as that huge of a loss talent-wise, to be honest with you.
Well, the games he played, he started, he did fairly well. But the knock on him is he's made of glass. He gets injured every 3 games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hate to hear it, but we're always a supporter. He's an LSU guy. We're longtime LSU fans on this podcast, as you'll see later. But
yeah.
So to the best to him. To the best to him.
Mm-hmm.
But
I
anyway,
agree.
yeah. Back to the linebackers, though. I mean, we just lost so much stuff on defense. You think that they addressed that with the draft?
Absolutely not.
We drafted
Mm,
a no-name defensive lineman in the first round who was projected to go, I think, like 3rd round, and we were like, we'll nab him in the first round when we possibly could have gotten.
I mean, you had the linebacker from Notre Dame, an All-American, sitting there, probably low-key knew, oh, please draft me, Saints. Y'all need an outside linebacker. I can come in and immediately start. He would fit right in. Him and DeMario would have been incredible. He could have learned under DeMario. And then we draft this kid that no one's ever heard of. We do it every year. It never see it. I go into it expecting it, and then it happens, and I'm still amazed every time it happens. We draft the one guy in the first round that nobody has ever heard of.
yeah. You know what I think it is? I think it's like Sean Payton and Mickey Loomis, who, by the way, have picked out a lot of great guys in the late round. I mean, Marcus Colson was a late round draft pick. Michael Thomas was a late round draft pick. Alvin Kamara, I believe, wasn't until like the 4th or 5th round, if I have that right. But like for some reason, whenever we get in the first round, it's like he wants to go grab somebody that no one wants because he's like trying to make a surprising move or something like that. You know what I mean? Like I don't think that I think Payton Turner, after watching his film, I think he's going to be a great pick. But I just think that we could have gotten him in the 2nd or 3rd round. You know what I mean? I don't know why we're going after him first when we could have gone and got something that we desperately needed. Or hell, even if we wanted him, why not just trade back and get an extra pick?
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot more that you can do there. I just think we didn't handle the situation great. I was not personally disappointed we didn't go get a quarterback, but let's ride with Jameis for a couple years. He's our guy. Crab legs forever. Let's eat a W with him all the time.
We could have gotten Kyle Trask, though. We could have gotten Kyle Trask. We could have drafted him because I'm pretty sure we drafted before the Bucks, did we not?
I mean, you don't. I wouldn't take Kyle Trask. That's not the issue that we took this guy over Kyle Trask. I would have preferred this guy over Kyle Trask, but it's just the fact that we didn't pick something we needed, and we also picked something we've never heard of, and a guy who, according to his injury history, is very injury prone, and we have Marcus Davenport, who suffers with being injury prone already.
Not only that, he's injury prone at Houston. I know football is football, and there's great football in the lower levels, but it's not like he's getting the wear and tear of the SEC West here. You know what I mean? I mean, it's stuff that you need to worry about. When he's playing against grown men, how is he going to hold up? And look, like I said, I think he's going to be I think he is a great pick. Just not in the first round. But to bring it back on kind of things that we need here. 4th round pick quarterback Ian Book out of Notre Dame. I kind of like this pick in the 4th round. I didn't like it originally, but kind of looking back on it, I think that it's one of those picks that's got high potential, and for the talent that was there at the time, there wasn't a ton we could have gotten.
Is this going to be Sean Payton's Tom Brady?
I mean, I love the pick. I watched a lot of Notre Dame football last year because they were pretty good. And they were always the prime time slot last year. And I remember I'd be watching the games and I'd be like, man, this kid's actually pretty good. And he did it against some decent teams, and he played fairly well against Alabama. And considering the talent he had around him to play as well against Alabama as he did says a lot. And I really hope Sean Payton gives him like a fair shot to win the starting job.
This year? You think he has a chance of getting the starting job this year?
I hope he gets a fair shot. Like, I hope if he goes in and he looks better than the other two in practice and in the preseason games, I think I hope they give him a chance.
They definitely should.
If he looks better than the other two, I hope they're just not, well, he doesn't have experience, let's play the other two. Yeah. I'm like, oh, if he looks good, if he looks better than them, give him a shot.
I'm a big guy with resting with not playing rookie quarterbacks. I think one of the biggest problems in the NFL right now is that they're just offering these, basically children. I mean, some of these guys are still, 22, 23 years old, and you're just sending them out there to go play with grown men. I think that we just need to give these guys a couple years before they play. I think that it hurt guys like Jameis Winston. Jameis Winston earlier in his career did not do well for what they thought he was going to be. It's a tough situation to be in, coming right out of college and having to learn an NFL offense, especially one like Bruce Arians. And for Ian Book, Sean Payton. So it's not going to be an easy road. I think I would like to see him have 2 or 3 years really before he gets to that point.
But then there's also
Go ahead, Luke.
But there's also the flip side to that argument too, is that they're not gonna really learn, and they're not gonna have the chance to work out those kinks that they need to work out without actually playing in the games, going up against other teams fucking full speed. They won't have the chance to work everything out that they need to work out if you'd let them sit for 2 or 3 years, and then they're gonna come out in 2 or 3 years and start, and everybody's gonna be like, oh man, this is the guy. He's had so many years to learn the playbook, to practice, to get used to this NFL game. And he's gonna come out and he's gonna have those rookie kinks still in game, and then it's gonna ruin his career because they're just gonna bench him or get rid of him after the season. Something like that'll happen. So I mean, there's an
I
argument for
agree.
both sides.
For sure, for
And
sure.
like you said about how Jameis didn't come in and do good right away, but like you're talking about, all right, like Jameis was the first pick of the draft, so he went to the worst team in the league the previous year. I
Hmm.
think the thing about Ian Book, he's getting drafted into got a pretty solid roster and some good weapons around him. I mean, we're a pretty good team. We were the 28th. What? Yeah, we picked 28th. So what? We were like the third, fourth best team in the NFL last year. So he's coming
Hmm.
in a little bit different than some of these guys who get drafted first and second. You
Oh yeah,
get my
dude.
point.
Yeah.
100%. And look, I do think that he's got some potential. I think that at quarterback, um, it's probably not as important to get in-game reps as it would be for other positions. Because in practice, all those cornerbacks and receivers, they're playing just as tight of coverage. I mean, most of those guys are trying to make a roster, or stay on a roster. So I think that years of practice against those guys would really do Ian Book well. But I think you guys also have a point saying that if he's the best guy going in, what's the harm of putting him out there and letting him lose for a season or two? All it means is we'll get better draft picks for him.
That's what I'm saying. Like if Ian Book looks the best on the roster, we're going to be bad either way. You know what I'm saying? If a
Yeah.
rookie is better than Jameis or Taysom, then we're going to have a bad year if you start Jameis or Taysom. So start the one who looks the best, let him grow a year. We'll probably still get a good draft pick, and he'll have a whole year of experience under his belt. Say you're bad this year, we're probably going to draft a quarterback next year if we get a high enough pick, and we'll be in the same situation.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, next year, man, we just need to
What
not
quarterbacks are
shit
going
the
to go in
bed
the
on.
next draft?
I mean, you never know, Bill. Someone's going to
Yeah.
go off in college and be like Burrow, who would have thought he would have been the number one
Yeah.
pick, and then he went off 1 year.
Yeah.
Yeah, threw a ridiculous amount of touchdowns, came out of absolutely nowhere. You know,
Well, he didn't come out of nowhere, man. He told us. He told us it was gonna happen, and nobody believed him.
That's true, dude. Nobody believed him. I'm sure there's a select few who believed him as a diehard, but dude, the improvement from his first year and second year with LSU is astounding. And we wish him all the best here at this podcast. We're small Bengals fans, not big Bengals fans, but small Bengals fans, just for him.
Especially
I
on
Well,
the more.
Bosby, you can
No,
leave. It's okay. If you don't
no,
like
I
Joe
hate
Burrow, you can leave.
no, I hate the
Yeah, it's
Bengals.
okay.
They don't protect Joe Burrow like they should. They have one of the worst offensive lines in the NFL. They don't have any protection around Joe Burrow, and that's why he got hurt last season because he has to always scramble out the pocket because he gets like 2 seconds in the pocket before there's a 300-pound lineman 2 inches from his face.
Crosby, they signed a lineman in free agency who's very good, and they drafted 3 linemen. He's going to be fine.
Yeah, they are focusing on Joe Burrow. They signed 3 linemen and one of his best buddies from LSU. Who was it? I forgot his name.
Jamar Chase.
Jamar
Talented,
Chase.
but
Have they
LSU
built an indoor practice facility
Yeah.
yet? That's the real
No,
question.
no, dude. Only team in the NFL without an indoor practice facility.
They
Hey,
don't
man,
care
that's
about
all
Joe
right, dude.
Burrow.
They practicing outside, bro. It ain't gonna rain.
It's about character, okay? It gives them character. That's what it's all about. It's about the heart. That's what it's about.
Yeah. All right.
They're going to be in much better shape than anyone else. I promise you that.
Yeah.
Without a
Yeah.
doubt. So on to our next guy, someone that we really haven't talked about. We talked about needing a linebacker. We picked Pete Werner at pick 60 in round 2. I think this guy is a steal. I think personally he's first round talent. He's one of the best linebackers in this draft. Okay, I am a big fan of this guy, and
Oh, Blake didn't like that
I
one.
think that he is going to tear. He's going to be a massive piece of our defense moving forward.
Well, Sean, I hope you're right because I think that was the worst pick of the draft.
Really?
I mean, I watched because when Ohio State, they entered the season last year in November and they played like 5 regular season games. I watched all of them, and he was okay, but anytime he tried covering a receiver, a tight end, he would just get roasted.
Yeah.
He
I mean,
was
and
3 steps behind.
That's a problem too when you're gonna come into an NFL team and play Mike. And I mean, right now, man, we ain't got nobody else at Mike, so he's gonna be that guy if we don't pick anybody else up. So I mean, he's gonna have to work on that for sure.
I think that he's definitely got some issues with his pass coverage, but I also think that the five games that he was only able to play because of COVID, I think that's the reason he fell this far. I think if he would have had a full season in him, played a bunch of small teams before he got to the big guys, I think he would have had a much better season. But I just think that
Well, I mean,
I think
dude,
that
if
moving
you
forward, dude, he's got a lot of intangibles that it's hard to teach. They're just hard to teach. He's got that Luke Kuechly kind of look in his eyes, which I absolutely
one of
love.
the things you really got to give to him about this past season, he was only playing 5 games. His production was on par with his seasons before, where he played 12 or 13 games. So I mean, that's pretty impressive with a reduced schedule to produce the same at the end of the season than you did the previous seasons is pretty impressive. So I mean,
Yeah.
there was definitely some improvement there that just wasn't able to be showcased because of the short season.
Yeah, and dude, he's also, he wasn't a bad guy before COVID either. I mean, he led the Buckeyes with 54 tackles in 2020, and he was second on the team in tackles in 2019 with 64. So, this is a guy that's had a consistent, very, very consistent career in college, and I would have liked to see him have more of a senior year. And, I think Alabama kind of bullied him a little bit, but I also think that Alabama offense is one of the greatest offenses in history. Maybe,
All right, man.
probably behind Joe Burrow's offense.
Let's be fair, man. Let's be fair. Alabama recruits out of state prisons. They don't recruit high school players. So I mean, you can't.
Yeah, you're telling me Najee Harris is 21 years old. Okay.
Okay.
That
No,
is a
Najee
freaking
Harris was made in a lab because he was genetically modified to just be this athletic freak. I'm pretty sure Alabama has like their own cloning facility, and they're just making they just found one massive buff dude, and they're just like, all right, we're just gonna make a million of these massive buff dudes and just
There he
make them.
goes.
Because every single one of their running backs is 6'4", 240 pounds with dreads. So you might be on something.
Dude, I'm just dying at the fact that Nick Saban might have this Mandalorian-like cloning facility with these like robot guards and shit like that. And he just good, coming out.
Whenever he just look at
Emperor
his face
Saban,
whenever he
bro.
wins.
Emperor
It's
Saban has
perfect.
gone to the dark side.
Dude, and that right there just proves, bro, that 2019 LSU team is the best college football team of all time. They went on the road in a hostile environment and beat Tua, Jalen Waddle, Devontae Smith, Jerry Jeudy, Henry Ruggs, and Najee
Dude,
Harris.
just obliterated them too. You remember watching that game in the dealership, man? Obliterated them, bro.
It was obliteration.
And dude, if we didn't have a couple of special teams errors, I think it's even worse. I mean, you remember they had a return punt on us or something like that. I think at one point we like muffed a punt or something, or like went for it on fourth down and get it or something like that. Like they had a lot of opportunities to come back and get it, but there was just always that gap that they couldn't cover. But to bring it back to the Saints, because we're going to get to the LSU later in this podcast. So the last thing we're going to do this again. Buy and sell on the Saints. You don't have to name specific players or anything like that. But would you guys, as a GM, personally, would you guys rather start selling assets? Like Demario Davis and all those defensive guys and some of the offensive linemen. Do you start selling those guys for the future, or do you just try to rebuild around what you had last year? Because the truth is, we're a couple plays away maybe from making a run at the playoffs and going deep and maybe even winning a Super Bowl. So just kind of interested to see what you guys think about that.
Let's say if we got a time machine and went back 2 years ago, I would say try to build around. I loved what Drew Brees did for the Saints, but he was our weakest link these last 2 years.
Yeah, I certainly think so as well. I wouldn't trade it for anything in the world. Like, seeing Drew was an absolute blessing, and watching it, I wanted to watch every minute that he could play. But the past 2 years, his arm just wasn't there, and I think he tried to do it for the city, but at a certain point, time just catches up with you.
And you're afraid of selling all of our assets too, because like we might not, like, Saints weren't ever really good until 2009. So like, what if you sell all of them and then you're stuck back being bad, you just could never rebuild it.
Yeah. You don't want to be the Aints again, man. But I mean, you think if you look at our offense, man, I mean, maybe there's some work we could do on the O line or something because we got Pete who's always hurt. We gotta
Hmm.
work on getting some stout depth on the line. But I mean, when you look at our playmakers, man, like Thomas, Smith, Callaway, you even got some young guys that are up and coming, like Deontay
Well, yeah,
Harrison, and shit like that. Our offense is pretty good, man. You just got to keep those playmakers we got and keep developing them, and then obviously worry about the quarterback situation, make the best decision on that. But I mean, like our biggest issue, I think Blake was right when we first started talking about the Saints, was going to be our defense. You know, we gotta solidify our linebacking core. We got Cam Jordan and Onyemata plays really well when he's not hurt, but he's always hurt. We gotta try to keep him healthy and develop this Turner guy, but just the linebacking core, man. Demario Davis can't do it all by himself. We gotta not buy or sell anything per se, but we just have to do what we can to bring people in. Like maybe just one more decent like veteran
I
to
agree.
balance out with Demario Davis, and then develop this Werner kid.
Oh,
I
dude,
could
I'm
hear
loving this Werner kid. Loving it. I think he's got a bright
I,
future.
I could hear an argument for possibly selling out on Michael Thomas, just because that $100 million contract. I don't like it. We could get a couple more players probably for that amount of money we're paying him per year.
Yeah, you don't like it, but then fucking 2 years ago he broke all kinds of records. I mean,
I mean, we have a pretty good starting point. In my opinion, Alvin Kamara is the best running back in the league. So you have that, and I think Michael
Facts.
Thomas is
100% facts.
yeah.
I
Michael
think
Thomas is a top five receiver. So I mean, we have pieces. It's just the quarterback's a big question, man. It really is.
Mm-hmm. Can we get a quarterback in time to win with this roster? I think that is the question. Whoever it's going to be. If we have to
well,
trade for him, if we're going to draft him, whatever it is.
I think this is a test year to see if Jameis is our is
But
Does
the
he
see,
key.
does
that's what I don't like, Bullsby. You just said the word test. I don't think there should be any test years in the NFL. Alvin Kamara is not going to want to sit and play when he's the best running back in the league on a bad team.
Yeah, he's not gonna sit
Mm-hmm.
around for any test years.
Yeah,
The
he
goal
don't care
every
about
year,
fantasy points. He wants to win. That's what he cares about. Especially
yeah,
because if we're not winning, New Orleans is not a market that can get you endorsements and stuff like that. So if we're losing, I mean, the money is gone. You know what I mean? It's
hmm
not like it's not like Los Angeles where the money will always be there. If we start losing, the money is gone. We don't
Well,
we just can't give people advertisement money.
Alvin Kamara has actual brick and mortar stores in New Orleans, so he has a reason to stay in New Orleans. He has business operations in New Orleans, so there's at least that part is somewhat probably going to sway him to stay in New Orleans.
yeah,
Possibly,
but losing can change that real quick.
it can
Yeah,
Yeah.
change that, but
especially when you're a running back, man. They
I
play
don't
they
think
play till
Jameis
they're maybe 30, 31, and then
I don't think Jameis
they're
is going
they're
to come out
out.
here and pull a 3-14 season. I don't think that's going to happen. I think
No,
we're
I
gonna
mean I'm
I
not
think we're
saying
gonna
we're
be
not.
above 500.
Yeah, I
I
mean
agree.
nobody here is saying that we're gonna be fucking 3-14, 2-15, or anything like that. But we're definitely not gonna be 15-2, fourteen
No,
and three.
Yeah,
No.
without a
no,
doubt.
no way.
Honestly, dude, I think that if Jameis comes to play, and we have a good season. I think the best this team has on him is a 10-8, 10-9 if you count the playoff loss. But that is like the ceiling there. I mean, we just don't have the defense to compete at a Super Bowl level. Who knows,
Mm-mm.
dude? Maybe some of these, I think we pick somebody up in the third round. Paulson. I'm not even going to try to pronounce that last name. It's spelled Adebo. He was picked in the
Adebo.
third round. Adebo. Thank you very much. He was in the third round, the 76th pick out of Stanford. He's a guy that if he comes out to play, 10-6. But you really just never know.
I mean, he's gonna get a shot. I think he walks right into Janoris Jenkins' starting spot. So we'll see. I like this film. Again, everyone's highlights look good, but
I also
he's
think that
definitely.
Sorry, go on.
No, I'm just saying. Yeah, he's definitely gonna start next year, 100%.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, I mean, because you got to keep Gardner Johnson at that roaming position. You can't put him out on the edge, was not going to be the best. We're not going to maximize his output if we put him on the edge and expect him to cover,
No, he
the
can't cover.
number
He's
one or
not.
the number two receiver. Yeah, he's going to be out there roaming around, making those big hits, blitzing, making those reads on the inside, and
Mm-hmm.
helping out our linebacker core and whatnot with that. So Adebo has some chance to come in and really solidify
I
himself
like
as
that
well.
pick because we needed a corner. I like that. That was like the one pick in the draft. I was like, thank God.
I do, especially because the Pac-12, the way that their offensive work, the way that their passing offenses work, I just think that he's in a great. He came from a great conference, not to mention also a great school. I mean, Stanford has a history of great corners, and they put out a lot of smart players in the NFL. We're not going to have a character issue with this guy or anything like that. I think this guy's going to come in ready to play, and I think he's going to be one of the smarter people on the field, to be honest with you, from what I've seen. But the question is, can he just kind of keep up with that next level talent that he just hasn't seen in college?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean that's always the question with every draft pick, even the number one draft pick. Can he keep up? Can he keep up? So I mean,
hmm
we'll just have
I
to
mean,
see.
the Saints are a big question mark last year, and I actually like that. I like going in not knowing what we're gonna get.
For sure, for sure. Well, now I kind of feel like we're wrapping up the Saints discussion, so let's move on to our next one, which is going to be LSU. LSU got a new defensive coordinator. All right. What's his name? What's his name?
Daronte Jones.
Exactly. Say that one more time, loud and proud.
Daronte Jones.
Do you know where he came
Let me
from?
hear you. Let me hear your war cry, Blake. Say it one more time, loud and proud.
I got people sleeping in here, so I don't want to
all
tell.
right. I feel that. I feel that. But kind of what do you know about him? Where is he from?
Well, I believe he was the defensive back coach for the Vikings last year, and before that, I think he was the defensive back coach at University of Hawaii. There's not much known about his schemes or anything like that. He's kind of new to the defensive coordinator. He was definitely Coach Orgeron took a risk with him. I think he missed
Mm-hmm.
on a few of the top guys he wanted, and he just really wanted to get a guy who he thought the players want to play for and rally around. And you could see like those players last year, they did not want to play for Bo Pelini. I mean, he has a
Oh
history
yeah.
of being a dick.
Yeah,
You
don't even
know,
get me started on Bo Pelini. I think that could be a whole topic unto itself. Look, I think he came in during a bad year. I mean, to start during COVID, that's rough. Man,
yeah.
I'm not going to put that past anybody. And especially with the political climate the way it was, dude, I just think that he's one of those guys that he walked into a bad situation after national championship loss, and people didn't want to be yelled at after winning a national championship. That's just these are some of the best players in the country. They're going to be the best players in the world eventually when they get to the NFL. They just don't need that anymore. They're not at that level where they need to be yelled at like children. You're not coaching, high school football or anything like that. These are men. This is their career. They probably wanted some respect that they weren't getting. And
Well, I think
I'm really glad that we moved on to Daronte Jones. I think that he's a good hire.
he'll
I think
pan out, man. I think he'll pan out. If you look at his history, DB coach for the Vikings. He's coached for Hawaii, UCLA. He was a DB coach in the CFL, but the last time he was a coordinator was with a Division II team called Bowie State, and he ran 3 top 5 defenses in 5 seasons. His last time as a DC.
Hey, that's good at any level of football, man. Coaching carries over to whatever level of football you have.
Yeah. So
No, I like it. I've seen a few interviews from Daronte, and he really sounds like he can get the players to want to play for him. He can get everyone organized. He can pump everybody up, and I don't know. In his interviews, I can see why Coach O took a chance on him.
Yeah, he's definitely a guy I would. I mean, and not to mention I believe he coached under Mike Zimmer the past couple years with the Minnesota Vikings, correct?
He did. He was actually recommended to Ed Ogeron by Dave Aranda.
I mean, dude, to work under Mike Zimmer and to get a recommendation from Dave Aranda, I mean that these are a lot of well-respected coaches when it comes to defensive football. Probably some of the smartest guys in the in all of football at any level. So to recommend this guy, I think that
Zimmer
says
is
a lot.
known. Yeah, Mike Zimmer is known as one of the best defensive coaches in football, and Dave Aranda, look, he kicked ass with our defense when he was here. So I mean, that's very promising. It's very promising to hear that he was recommended by Aranda, and he's got that experience under Zimmer.
I mean,
I
the
think
good news is it's only up from here because I mean, last year was the last year is the worst that LSU defense can get. It cannot get worse.
Yeah, I think that was probably one of the hardest defenses I've had to watch in a long time. And granted, we had a lot of people opt out and stuff like that, so there's always that excuse that we can use. But I think the truth of the matter is that we just weren't very good last year, even if we have all of our guys. I think there's a reason why they left. I think they knew that we weren't going to be any good this year. They saw the writing on the wall, and they didn't want their draft stock to plummet. Which, by the way, as much as I personally am not a huge fan of that, I also really respect it because they got to do what's best for their family. They're out there chasing checks. We're out here,
yeah,
just talking football. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like they got to support their family. So, I definitely
yeah.
respect them and what they did and stuff like that. But I think they just saw the writing on the wall. Fact of
I
the matter.
understand it because of the COVID year, but you are committing to a university, so I still kind of get my ass chapped when players opt out like that.
Yeah.
And I probably will in the future because, like, now the COVID excuse is gone.
Yeah, now if you're opting out, it's just because you don't want to play. Like, I think that if
Right.
you play an entire season and then you don't want to play in a bowl game, like, that's a little different, man. Like, you made a commitment to those guys for the entirety of the season.
Yeah, that's why I don't like any player that skips a bowl game. Like
Yeah. No.
you've grinded with these players for 4 years, and then in probably the most important game of all the other players' lives, because maybe not all the other guys are not going to go to the NFL, so that's like one of the biggest games of their lives, and then you're just gonna be like, all right, peace. I'm gonna go chill because I'm gonna go to the NFL and have I'm gonna have a way better career than you'll ever have. So I'm just gonna peace out. I just feel like it's really disrespectful for the rest of your team to just go, all right, I'm out.
I
Yeah,
agree.
but the thing is, I think that if you ask their teammates, I think that their teammates would tell them not to play in the game. Maybe there's a couple in there that would say, come on, man, we really need you. I want to win this game. But most of those guys know the situations that they've been in. They know the kind of lives that they've had growing up and stuff like that, kind of where they're from, and they tell them to go chase that bag, man. I don't like it because I want to see my favorite players play, their last game in the LSU uniform. I don't want the last game of the season to be their last game, dude. I want to see them one more time because I love them and stuff like that. But personally, dude, I just, I can at least understand and respect why they're doing it. I don't think they're doing it to be malicious. I think they just, they want that money, man. They want that life-changing money.
It's a business decision, man. At the end of the day,
Yeah.
it's not anything personal against LSU or the fans or anything. They're just doing what's best for their brand.
Yeah, and for their knees, and their shoulders and stuff like that.
Yeah. So this next one, man, I think I'll be surprised if we don't all agree, but Max Johnson or Myles Brennan.
Max
I cannot.
Johnson.
But the fact
Yeah,
that this is even a discussion blows my mind, and I see LSU fans online, like a majority of them,
A
like I think
significant
more,
portion. Significant portion.
they want Myles Brennan to be the quarterback, and I don't get. Myles Brennan is a fifth-year senior quarterback. The fact that he is even in a competition with a pretty much a true freshman, that should tell you right there. Start the true
yeah,
freshman.
that's just it's just embarrassing. He's been with us for so long, and last year he had to have this two true freshman come in and bail him out. You know what I mean? I mean,
Well, I mean, he did. He
Max
did. He had
Johnson's
a very, very weird injury, so I don't know if bail him out's the right choice of words. I know what you mean, though. I mean, he definitely had to have that guy come in. But dude, Max Johnson won some big games on his own. I mean, going into number 5, I believe at the time number 5 Florida, and winning like that. That's not an easy thing to do. I don't care if there's only half capacity in the stands, no matter what. That's still the swamp. There could be 10 people in there, and it would be deafening. It's almost as good as Tiger Stadium, almost.
That was his first start as a true freshman, and he went on the road and beat a top 5 team. Myles Brennan started the first 3 games last year against probably the 3 worst teams on our schedule, and he went 1-2. yeah, the defense was bad and all of that, but they were still bad when Max Johnson was the quarterback too. Myles Brennan had 4 chances to score from the half-inch line at the end of the game against Missouri and couldn't get it done. That right there told me everything I needed to know.
Yeah, I mean, dude, there's just something. There's just
He doesn't.
something about quarterbacks. Some quarterbacks like that just have that talent, man. Joe Burrow had that talent. Tim Tebow had that talent, dude. Some people just find a way into the end zone, and it's like if you got it, you got it, and if you don't, you don't. You know, that's just the way it is. And to be honest, what I saw from Max Johnson, I think he's got it. I think he's got it all the way.
He might. I mean, I'm not saying he's no Joe Burrow, but he definitely seemed to win the team. The team seemed to rally around him. They wanted to play for him. The fact that this is even a discussion, I don't understand. I really don't understand. It blows my mind when I see people online talking about how they might boycott if Max Johnson starts. I just don't understand it.
You go with the lefty, man. Go with the lefty, bro.
Yeah, dude, and not to mention, I mean, you also got to take into consideration last year did not count towards Max Johnson's eligibility. He still has 4 years of football in him. You know,
Right.
So I mean, whether that means they want to give, your boy a chance at quarterback or let Max Johnson take over, there's an argument both ways. You could say, okay, well, you could train Max Johnson another year and ride with the senior, kind of the leadership guy, the culture guy that you want to get. Or do you just say, this season is probably not a national championship season anyway. Let's just develop this quarterback. Let's just put him out there with the Wolves.
I think this team can win a championship. This team is very talented. We returned basically every starter from last year. We have some 5th and even 6th-year guys on this team next year. And you look at our schedule, and it's really not that hard. The only loss I see on there is Alabama, and I think if 11-1 LSU makes it to the playoffs.
Oh, 100%. An 11-1 SEC West team makes it to the playoffs.
I think it just depends on how bad we lose. If it's Alabama, we lose to how bad we lose to them. We can't have a game going in there losing by 40 points, obviously. But man, losing by a couple points here or there to Bama, I think we still got a good shot. I just don't know if we have the talent on there just yet. I think we need at least another year to grow until we're at that level. I think we win 8 or 9 games. I don't think we have a bad season by any stretch of the means. But dude, there's some rising teams in the SEC besides Bama. It's gonna be tough to compete with these guys.
If we only win 8 games next year, I think Ed Orgeron needs to be on the hot seat. Go look at the schedule, Sean. Find me 4 losses on there.
Yeah, Sean. So I'm gonna read this out to you. All right, we got UCLA, we got McNeese, Central Michigan, and then we run into the SEC: Mississippi State, Auburn, Kentucky, Florida, Ole Miss, Bama, Arkansas, and then we are out of the SEC playing Monroe, UL Monroe, and then we're back in SEC finishing off with A&M.
Yeah, man. I think it's difficult to find a significant amount of losses. I'd say probably Alabama's our toughest, then Florida, and then I would have to say after that the surprise pick is going to be Mississippi State. I think that Mike Leach's offense in the SEC is going to start changing how defenses are run. I think he kind of exposed LSU last year of running an outdated 4-3. And granted, now we have a new D coordinator and stuff like that. But I just think that this season moving forward, we got to be careful with our guys. We got to really make sure we keep it up.
But to kind of rewind back to the whole culture talk with the quarterback, do we stay with the culture we built with Brennan, or do we move on and let the kid play? I say build a culture around the kid this year.
I think the culture's already there with Max.
Yeah, I mean the guys want to play for him. It was obvious when he came in. Keep building that culture. He already beat Florida on the road. He'll beat Florida in Death Valley. There's no question about that.
Florida's not going to be that good next year. I don't like Emory Jones.
To replace Trav, I don't think they do.
No, they're gonna have a down year.
By the way,
he'll whoop up.
Baked Gamer is our resident Florida fan on the podcast, so everyone give him a boo if you're listening. Fuck that guy.
He's also our resident idiot on the podcast.
Without a doubt.
But I mean, dude, Max Johnson, man, he'll go in there, he'll whoop up on UCLA, McNeese, and Central Michigan, and get in his groove with those first 3 games. And I think he's got a chance to go in there and beat Mississippi State on the road.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. It's no question to me. It's Max Johnson. 100%. Sign it, deliver it.
Mm-hmm. I think okay. So now moving on to the next topic, we're gonna stay within LSU, but we're gonna switch to baseball. All right, LSU's had a rough go of it, but apparently coming up, we have a very slim chance of hosting a regional. Probably it's only because of our name recognition and stuff like that. I don't think we have a great record, but I mean I would love the opportunity for these young guys to play in at least a regional and have a chance to kind of experience that playoff baseball field, especially now that Alex Box can reach capacity. I mean that's going to be that's a big difference that I think a lot of people don't talk about when it comes to LSU baseball. I think we're in 5 or 6 schools in the country that have a significant home field advantage in college baseball. There's just not many people that can keep up with us. Maybe Mississippi State and a couple other guys, but I mean Florida State's up there. Some West Coast teams and stuff like that I'm sure are up there. But dude, LSU at Alec Box, it's just different, man. It's just different.
I mean, I think we have like 5 games left. They beat Alabama tonight. Or we have like 5 or 6 games left. So I think we definitely have to either win all of those or maybe you can lose one. And then we have to win. We have to have a good run in the SEC tournament.
I think you're right. I think that we need to win at least. I think we need to lose no less than 2 games. And if we play well in the SEC tournament, then I think we'll get a regional just based on our market. But honestly, dude, I don't know if we have the pitching to do well enough in a regional. I mean, we don't have that depth like we normally have, man. I mean, that's always what we hung our hat on, and we're struggling at pitching this year.
Who was our aces? What was his name? He got hurt a few months ago.
Oh, I can't remember his name right now. He's been with the program for years, though. He was on the team when we went to the national championship. I believe he was hurt at the time, right? If I'm thinking of the right guy.
Jaden Hill. I don't think he was on the championship team. I think he was the year after. But
I think you're right. I believe he's out of Central, isn't he?
I think so. And he just every year he gets some kind of. It's very. I feel really bad for him. He just can't stay healthy, poor guy. But it went down. I think it kind of like we went on a slump when he got hurt. I think it kind of destroyed the morale of the team. And they're just starting to kind of pick it back up. We've been winning a lot more lately. They're trying to make a late push. You like to see it. I just think it might be time for Paul Maineri to hang it up.
I was just about to ask you that, man. If is it time for Paul Maineri to leave LSU? I think that he's had a tremendous career with LSU. I think he's a fantastic baseball coach. I think he still is a fantastic baseball coach. But we kind of saw it with Les Myles. At a certain point, you've just been with the program too long, and I think that it starts to affect how the programs run. Maybe the personal relationships change between coaches. Him and Alan Dunn have worked together for a very, very long time, and I'm sure that they're always going to be friends. But working with anybody for that long, for those hard of hours and that stressful situations, it's going to create some resentment after a while. It's going to affect how the operation is run, and I just think that it's time for us to go get a young guy, the new face of LSU baseball, and try to make a big splash recruiting in the next couple of years, because I think that's what we really need. I think that's what we've lacked the past couple of years. We haven't gotten the top-tier pitching talent that we have been getting in the past, decade or so with Paul Maineri and Alan Dunn. So I'd like to see us move on.
Yeah, you just need a change, kind of like Ed Ogeron just came in and rejuvenated the program. That's what you need, and we're always going to recruit well because we're LSU. They just need some new energy in there. That's how I feel about that. I definitely think this needs to be Paul Maineri's last year. Great career. Thank him for everything he did. I do think he underachieved with us slightly. I think he won 1 championship in 15 years. Definitely should have been 3 or 4, but
yeah, at LSU baseball, with some of the talent that he had. Man. I agree.
He had some good teams.
Mm-hmm. He had all those Bregman teams and stuff like that. All those Bregman teams that were really good. And somehow we could just never put together a serious run at a natty,
We made it to the natty when we had Lang and Kramer Robinson and all them, and they swept us, I think. They beat us 2-0 in the championship.
Yeah, and honestly, dude, I don't think that roster, while it was a great season, I think it's one of my favorite LSU baseball seasons in my lifetime. I just think that they weren't a championship team. They just had that juice that
They
you need
got
to win
hot.
sometimes. Yeah, they got hot at the right time, and but besides them, I mean, there are teams that Paul Maineri's had that just should have won championships, and I think he's let Vanderbilt and Mississippi State to an extent kind of grow too powerful in the SEC. Man, we used to have a corner of this market. No one could out recruit us in the SEC, and I think that's starting to change. I think we're still a top dog, maybe behind Vanderbilt by an inch, but it's not the wide gap it used to be. That's for sure.
No, not at all. Like you said, I mean, some of those teams. I think one of the teams we had Aaron Nola, Gaussman. Remember that team that had Gaussman, Aaron Nola,
Mm-hmm.
I think Ray Grimes, Mason Katz, all of those guys, and we didn't win. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, was that the year we lost to Stony Brook?
I think that was one of the years we had them. I think the next year we made it to the College World Series, but I think Aaron Nola was our ace. I don't think we had Gaussman anymore.
I think you're right about that. I think you're right.
Yeah, he's just he's underachieved. He had a good career though, but yeah, I think it's time for a fresh face to rejuvenate things.
Yeah. All right, now so sticking with baseball, but we're not going with LSU sports. We're talking the Oakland A's leaving Oakland, and they're looking for other small market teams and stuff like that. I think New Orleans is the perfect city for this team. I think that people down here would treat a Major League Baseball team religiously. I mean, people need to see how we treat LSU baseball, and that's just a college program. You put us in the major leagues, people will be at every game. People will be obsessing about this in New Orleans. I mean, we're a big baseball culture down here in Louisiana, and I would love to see it. I want to know what y'all think about it.
I mean, we may need them because the Pelicans may be on their way out.
Yeah. I mean, we love our sports down here, man. And people may make the argument that, we were talking the other day. People made the argument that we couldn't keep the baby cakes here. What makes you think we could keep a major league team? I mean, that was the minor league team that changed their name to the Baby Cakes.
No one gave a fuck about the baby cakes.
Yeah, nobody cared.
Baby cakes. Of all the things that they could have come up with, Cajun in Louisiana, they came up with baby cakes.
Not even king cake, baby cake. Like what even is? And then your mascot is some pedophile looking baby.
Yeah, some diabetic out there.
Can we talk about that real quick? The Saints, that's a cool name, but the Pelicans and the Baby Cakes. If we do get a professional baseball team, we better do them right by their name because we have some shitty names.
Oh yeah, dude.
I mean, the arena football team's got a dope name. They're the Voodoo.
Yeah, the Voodoo. I mean,
but I don't even know if they're a team anymore. I don't even know if they're a team anymore. I'm pretty sure that league disbanded.
Hey, man, if they're not, make the MLB team the Voodoo. The New Orleans. That'd be dope.
I'd go to them games, man. I would go to those games.
Rename the Pelicans the Voodoo, and instead of calling it the frickin' Smoothie King Center, call it the Graveyard.
Oh yeah, the Blender. That's the nickname for our NBA stadium is the Blender of all things.
Blender, bro. It's where the Pelicans go to get blended up by other teams.
We're destined to suck.
We're destined to be bad with a name like that, man. We're just destined to be bad.
But could you imagine, man, the Major League Baseball team, the New Orleans Voodoo, coming in with their purple, red and black colors, coming in to the Graveyard, dude. That would be deadly. That would be awesome.
That would be incredible. I'd love that. I'd love that so much.
No, we'd probably name them the frickin' the Rougarou.
The Rougarou.
The Rougarou. Whatever the hell that is.
The New Orleans Nutria, bro.
Oh, yeah. And for everybody listening outside Louisiana, the Rougarou, that is actually a Cajun monster, and there's a lot of different stories about this. So, this is just the one I was told. It's a monster that eats Catholic children that disobey their parents. Old Cajun French kind of thing. I mean, that's going all the way back to when they colonized America. The Rougarou gonna get you.
Rougarou, yeah. Well, watch out for that Rougarou.
Now Rougarou gonna get you if you keep acting up.
Oh, dude, I think I might jump off a bridge though if we get a Major League Baseball team and they call them the Gators or something stupid like that. That would be
Oh God, just that basic name. It's like,
that'd
dude,
be
we're New Orleans.
devastating.
Get eccentric, man. Get eccentric.
Like if
Like
anything,
even like the New Orleans Jesters or something would be pretty cool. Just
yeah.
something.
Yeah, man. I think that would be pretty dope. Hell, even I think the
We-
New Orleans Athletics, that actually has a nice sound to it. You know what I mean? I could see it. I can see it right now. A white logo, blue trim, blue lettering, a blue A with probably like some sort of NOLA stuff in the background. Dude, I think even that could be incredible. The baseball is not really big into animal mascots all the time, so I think that would be kind of nice.
Maybe.
It would be, man. But the voodoo,
Oh,
Yeah, nothing.
that's my pick.
I, yeah,
I am
just
so butthurt that our horrible arena football team had to take that name.
yeah, I know, man.
Oh,
All right. Well, it sounds like we're kind of getting to the end of everything we got in here. Is there anything else y'all want to say before we get going?
no, but I guess we'll just pick back up next time with the most recent news about our sports teams, and
Yeah,
We can end it on fuck the Jazz.
that's right.
Fuck the Jazz.
Fuck the Jazz. The Pelicans should have been the Jazz. Everybody knows it.
Yeah,
Fuck the Jazz.
All right, man. Y'all keep it real.